Really?
It's their big fundraiser.
I mean,
You get the Boy Scout lilies and the Pledge of Allegiance.
yes.
Right.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It is 6 PM, October the 7th, 2024, and it's time to call our city council meeting to order. Ms. Jones, roll call, please.
Mr. Austin,
Present.
Mr. Shuck,
Here.
Ms. McGinnis,
Here.
Ms. Nally,
Here.
Ms. Price,
Here.
Mr. Friend,
Here.
Mr. Taylor,
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Brian, we have some special guests here tonight with the Boy Scouts, I see. So could you do the prayer and maybe one of the Boy Scouts come up and help lead with the pledge? Would one of you want to do that? Come on up.
We'll let them figure out who that is.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Well, I invite you to join me in prayer if you would. Let's bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening and we thank you for the privilege of being here in City Hall tonight. I pray that you'd be with this meeting, be with all the decisions that are on the agenda, both new and old business, and pray that you'd lead and guide every decision made by our council for the good of our city. And I thank you so much for all those who serve it, as we even consider on the agenda just compensating. Lord, they're worth all of it, and we know we're so blessed to have great employees here in our city. And so bless them for their service here. And God, above all, we thank you for your goodness and your common grace on the just and the unjust, as your word says. Bless this evening tonight. We ask it in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Let's stand and invite you to join us in the pledge. You ready?
My family is to the flag and the United States of America. To be a problem with this day, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two.
Maybe seated. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Great
All right,
job,
we'll get
Gavin.
back to the business here. Is there any other announcements or public comment that is not on the agenda? Hearing none, we will go on to the consent agenda.
Move to approve the city council meetings from 9/16.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye. Move to
Okay.
read old business by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to read old business by title only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item number one, approval of ordinance number 24-5, an ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance number 83-7, defining, regulating, licensing, and governing massage parlors in the city of Franklin. City Attorney Lynn Gray, this was introduced last week, and we will have here in just a minute, after Lynn Gray says a few words, we will go into a public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. Really don't have anything more to add other than essentially we already have an ordinance. This is codifying a lot of our health and safety requirements as well as our licensing requirements. The significant change really is not in the ordinance itself as much as it is in who's administering the ordinance and utilizing the services of our police department for permitting because they have access to background checks and things of that nature. I would point out to you that on page 5, 17A, thank you, Joanna, pointed out to me that the word, thank you, Mark, the word message needs to be changed to massage establishment, and that was already done and provided to Jan, so you will see a correct spelling of massage instead of message. I caught it every place else. With that, sir, I'll answer any questions after the public hearing.
I just think that just for the date, it wasn't last week, right? It was 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks
Yes.
ago, it was on September 16th.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I thought you said last week, so.
No, I may
apologize.
have, so.
Okay, yep.
Thank you for catching that.
Yep.
It was introduced September the 16th. Okay, so we will now open this up for public hearing. If there's any questions or comments. Seeing nobody move to the podium, we will close the public hearing. Now we're ready for action.
Move to approve ordinance number 24-05.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item number 2, which is.
And I would indicate, Madam Clerk Treasurer, we will have to publish that as it is an ordinance with permitting and fee requirements, so we'll have to publish it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Okay, next item, approval of ordinance 24-07, an ordinance amending name and duties of the Telecommunications Council, City Attorney Glenn Gray. This one was also introduced September the 16th and will be up for public hearing just in a minute.
Thank you, sir. As I indicated last time at the time of introduction, in March of 2001, the city council at that time adopted an ordinance creating the Franklin Telecommunications Council. The need at that point was because the cities were then involved in franchising certain cable networks as well as phones and telecommunications. That law has subsequently changed, and we don't even have franchise requirements or duties anymore. But the Telecommunications Council has been vital to making recommendations to the Board of Works about technology types of things. As a result, at one of the Telecommunications Council meetings, they suggested that perhaps we ought to amend their name to more accurately reflect what they do, and that was what this ordinance is intended to do, is intended to rename it from Franklin Telecommunications Council to Franklin Technology Advisory Council. At the last Board of Works meeting, not just preceding this one, but the last meeting on September, what did we say, 16th, the Board of Works recommended approval of this, but ultimately the decision to rename is yours. The other thing that was changed, instead of a requirement that the Franklin Telecommunications Council give you a written report and come to your January board meetings, we took that requirement away in case there wasn't any need to do it, but you have the option to then request that they come as opposed to a mandatory reporting. I would tell you that I think each member is paid $50 to serve on it, so the fewer meetings they have to go to, perhaps the better. And so we're always available to come and answer any questions, but having a mandatory requirement seemed a bit cumbersome, given that most of their work is done voluntarily. So with that, we're ready for a public hearing, and I can answer any questions at the conclusion of that, sir.
Okay, we will open it up for public hearing. Seeing nobody with questions, or comments, we will close the public hearing.
Move to approve ordinance 24-07.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next item, approval of ordinance 2024-06, amending ordinance 2006-15, illicit discharge and connection stormwater ordinance, and ordinance 2006-16, construction site and post-construction site storm water control ordinance. We are here tonight for the public hearing and official action. This was also introduced on September the 16th. So, Ms. Tennell?
Good evening. We're going to make this really short and sweet. As we discussed at the last meeting, there are two ordinances regarding stormwater, one in regard to illicit discharge and the other one regarding construction and enforcement. This ordinance is in efforts to identify the violation and finding process a little bit clearer. MS4 coordinator Ty Urban, give him a lot of tools on keeping stormwater in the condition it should be, and giving some incentives for people to move a little bit faster than they have in the past. So it is ready for a public hearing.
That deeper voice may be incentive enough.
Yeah.
Sounds like you mean it, yes.
We really mean it this time.
All right, all right.
Okay, we will open this up for a public hearing. Does anyone have any further questions or comments? Hearing none, nobody moving forward, we will close the public hearing. So we are ready for action on this item as well.
Move to approve budgetary ordinance 2024-06.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2024-06. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I think we have another ordinance to pass as well, is that correct? Did that cover that? I
Joanna?
thought there was two.
Yeah, no, that covered what you needed, right, Joanna?
Just the one?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we'll need to publish it as well. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item, which is public hearing but not up for adoption, is item approval of, let me get there, public hearing for the 2025 budget Forms 1 and summary. So we introduced the budget for the 2025 budget spending plan. We introduced that on the 16th. Tonight, October the 7th, is public hearing. Adoption would be October the 21st. Just to highlight a few things, you know, the biggest expenses, the biggest add-on to our budget for the year was wages and insurance for our police officers, firemen, $3,000 raise. Most people, I think we had 68 employees with $2,000 raise. And then we had the other people with in between there at some point. I will point out, just for transparency, city council, $500 raise, the mayor, clerk treasurer, judge, $2,500 raise. The raises and insurance is always the big hit for our budget. We added $1.3 million to our budget for insurance, which the street department took $261,183. Sewer, $114,529. Parks, $166,509. Board of Works, $757,890. To go along with that, whenever we look at our just wages alone, not counting insurance and FICA and all that, it was a 3.5% raise. And then you put the insurance on top of that, which was another 3.73%. In the 100 series, which is salaries, it was $1,506,240, which is 7.23% increase. That is all wages, FICA, perf, and insurance. And then we go to our supplies. On the 200 series, it was $33,400. That's a 0.20% increase. And what is office supply, or what is supplies? It's office supplies, operating supplies, repair and maintenance. In the fire department, it was turnout gear, wearing apparel, repair and maintenance. And there was 21,000 of the 33,000 went to the fire department. And then what is other supplies for, like cemetery, grass seed, locks, nails, and tires, that sort of stuff. Then the 300 series, which is services, we added $207,402. What is the 300? What's the services? Stuff like postage, travel training, equipment maintenance, building repair and maintenance, contractual, engineering services, liability insurance, street lights. And the biggest hit that we had, I don't want to say hit, the biggest budget item that we had for the 300 series, we did put in the planning department under professional services, $150,000 that we put in there for our comprehensive plan that we'll be doing this summer. So things like that are in the 300 series. Then the 400 series, we added $395,196. 1.95% increase, and that is like infrastructure in the Board of Works, which is, I think we added $347,000 to the Board of Works for infrastructure. And then at the cemetery, we added $50,000 for the cemetery, fixing the grave sites. We put that in the budget. So we ended up adding to the 2025 budget $2,142,238, a 10.58% increase to the general fund. The projected income was $22,882,042, and our budget that we budgeted is $22,382,042. So $500,000 in the general fund did not get budgeted, but that money can always be used, the $500,000, when we have a special appropriation. So I know I'm talking pretty fast here, and I wrote down a lot of notes. I didn't practice all this, but I did write down a lot of notes. So I think what the big take of it is the wages and the insurance. That was our biggest hit to the budget on all of it. So with that said, I will now open it up for let me add one more thing here. I got another sheet here I want to look at. Assessed values went up another 4.5%. Our assessed value is $1,561,347,738. And the reason I like to look at that number, I remember in 2017, when I first became mayor, our assessed value was like at $800 million, and then now it's almost double that. So it's really interesting to watch that over the years. Our tax rate fell another 0.5%. Our tax rate did fall, and assessed values and growth is why your tax rate goes down. The city gets 37% of every dollar, the school gets 50%, library gets 2%, the county gets 10%, and the township gets 1%. So that's it. That's it for the budget. As far as hitting on the highlights, if there's any question from the council, or we are going to open this up. Is there any question from the council before we open it up?
I think it's important to note that the increase in the salaries covers how many employees?
195 employees.
So we employ 195.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of good people that we value. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to open this up for public hearing. If anybody has any questions on the budget, and tell you that's a long process, and I personally enjoy doing it. But we're open for public comments. Hearing none, we will close the public comment. And again, next meeting would be October 21st is when we'll schedule for adoption. Okay, so that one has been done for tonight. We'll go on to the next one. Approval of budgetary ordinance 2420. It says amended. Jan will explain that here in just a minute. It's the 2025 salaries for all city employees. Again, it was introduced on the 16th, and we're going to have a public hearing in just a minute. So, Jan, do you want to?
Yeah, so we are asking to approve as amended. There were just a few things, so pages 1 through 7, that's just thrown now. We ended up listing all the exempt employees, their bi-weekly salary instead of annual, and that has to do with more state board of accounts, and making sure what they get paid at the end of the year matches exactly what's on the salary ordinance. So from a bookkeeping standpoint, they suggest that's how we do it. So we changed that. We also changed the name to Franklin Technology Advisory Council for the new salary ordinance. Pages 8 and 9, we updated a few of the titles and hours worked. Each of the department heads kind of noticed something that we didn't have quite correct, so we got that updated as well. There were a few spelling and grammar areas that were corrected throughout. And then on page 18, the daily meal allowance is still $35. We are upping that in our handbook review, but that doesn't pass until later date. So for this salary ordinance, it still needs to be listed at the $35. So we did change that back to show that. But everything else is how it was presented at the last meeting.
Okay, Jan, I think there might be one more that we just talked about. I think Friday, the street office manager on page 5. On the salary ordinance, we took the $3,424 out of that.
Yes, you're right. So the street, that 3,000 included the records, and we are keeping that within the clerk treasurer's office. So that salary is 53,626.
Which that didn't.
Instead of the 57,070.
And that didn't change the 53,626, just the $3,424.
Correct. And so it didn't change anything on the budget, because that 3,000 was coming from the clerk treasurer's office anyway, and that's where it's staying. So there's nothing that had to be changed on any of the forms.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So is there any questions for Jan on this one? If not, we will open this one up for a public hearing.
Jan, I just want to say thank you for all your work. You can tell this is, if you compare this to the prior salary ordinances are what we call, this is much, 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 much more detailed at the recommendation of our consultants and, quite frankly, your new clerk treasurer. But this pretty much lays out every way that somebody is compensated so that everybody can ask any questions they want. Public, you who monitor these funds. So Jan, I know a tremendous amount of work you put in. If we do change things in the future, then we'll have to amend the salary ordinance, but I anticipate it'll be the same format that we have here. So we won't have to recreate the wheel in the future, but thank you. It's been a lot of heavy lifting. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so we are open for public hearing. I don't think I've closed it yet. Any questions on the salary ordinance? Okay, I will close public hearing. Thank you, Jan. Okay, that gets us to new business.
Move to read new business by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to read new business title only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, new business, item number 1, request approval of budgetary resolution 24-10, transfer from law, ordinance, and code enforcement to law, fire merit in the amount of $5,000. City Attorney Lynn Gray.
Thank you, sir. This is what I call my chip exercise this time of the year, where he didn't even know I'm talking about him. Actually, Jim Admire is the Fire Merit Board attorney, and so he does the work for the Merit Board. I do not, but they had exhausted their allocation, so I have it in the general law, so we can just move it. So we're not allocating any additional money, we're just moving it from my line item to his line item to get Jimmy paid.
We can act on this tonight.
Yes, you can. It's not a new appropriation, it's just a transfer.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item, request approval of budgetary resolution 24-12 to transfer from MVH 100 to MVH 200 in the amount of $25,000. Street Commissioner, Fleet Manager Brett Jones.
Thank you, sir. I, too, am exercising my inner Chip Warner. So I'm asking to move some money from line item from the 100 series to our 200 series, and appreciate your consideration for the 25 budget. Maybe I won't be here next year to do this, but no promises.
And this here can be approved tonight as
Right.
well.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Okay, now we're going into, I just thought we had to do it next meeting. Let's do it next time. So Lynn has just made it,
Yeah, I mean,
brought it to my attention that if we wanted to, we could approve the salary ordinance tonight. I thought that it was the next meeting as well, but
no, it's been introduced, it's been public hearing, so you could prove it, we gotta publish it. But
so are you guys okay if we back up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, so let's back up, sorry about that. Let's back up to the item number 5, under old business, the approval of the budgetary ordinance 24-20 as was amended. That's been explained. We have opened it up for the public hearing tonight already. So if we can, let's make a motion to,
Move to approve.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the salary ordinance for 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you, Lynn, for bringing that to our attention.
well, thank you, Clerk Treasurer.
Okay. Okay, let's go on to the other business, the holiday schedule. I don't think we have to approve that here. I think that's done at the Board of Works, the holiday schedule. The next one we do approve here is the 2025. Yep, let's look at that real quick.
Meeting dates.
It's 14 days, and that's what we've had for as long as I can remember, 14 days of holidays. And we mirror real close to the county, since we're both right here in the same city. Okay. Now, the next one, the 2025 meeting dates for city council. You know, it's always kind of, everybody hates to have a during the week meeting like a Wednesday or Tuesday, and we had several of those in the last couple of years because the way the dates fell, and it looks like on this one, we have in January on a Wednesday, we have February a Wednesday, and then we go to September and we get a Tuesday. So we only have 3 dates that's not on the traditional Mondays that we go with. So we can approve this tonight as well, and we did approve at the Board of Works. We mirrored this, of course, because we have the Board of Works before this. So we can approve this tonight as well.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And now that gets us to council member comments. Start with you, Jennifer.
I have nothing, but thank you.
Okay.
Nothing for me either, thank you.
Todd,
Nothing.
Sean,
Nothing.
Ken.
Nothing, no. So happy birthday to Jennifer this weekend.
Thank you.
Okay.
I don't have anything. At least it was different than nothing.
Josh.
Well, I would just want to say, welcome to Troop 228. I'm assuming they're here for the requirement for citizenship in the community. Am I correct? Okay. Well, great.
I take that they know you, Josh.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know several of them.
That don't know, Josh is big into the scouts. He and his brother are, so. Yeah, so, Jan? Lynn?
No, sir.
Okay, and I don't have anything else to add. Just thank you guys, and want to thank our workers here in the city. And I know all of us up here appreciate everything they do, and we're happy to be able to accommodate and show that we care with our wage increase and insurance increase. So with that being said, I think we need a motion.
Motion adjourn.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Gee, Merry Christmas.
Motion to